Hey Central School, Mrs. Hewing here, and we have almost made it to summertime. So today I need to spend some time talking to you guys about setting summer reading goals, okay? So I'm sitting in my backyard for a reason. If you notice, I'm sitting on my slide. Now, a lot of you have probably had teachers in the past talk to you about summer slide. Slides are fun, slides are great, but not the summer slide. The summer slide is what happens when we've spent all year building and building and building our reading levels. And then when we go for months of time or whatever it is without reading, our reading level starts to take that slide back down. So we really need to make sure we're still in practice in reading over the summer. So we're going to talk about setting some reading goals. In just a minute, I'm going to go inside and find my spot to show you how I'm going to set my summer reading goals. And I need you to grab a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper so you can set your reading goals. Go ahead and hit pause, and when you come back, we'll be ready to start our reading goals. All right, welcome back. So now you should be ready with something to write with and your piece of paper, right? So at the top of your page, I want you to go ahead and write summer reading goals, just like I already have here on mine. Okay? All right. Now that you have summer reading goals written up here at the top of the page, I need you to take your paper and you're going to divide it into 4 boxes because we're going to create and write 4 separate reading goals. Okay? In the very first box here, the very first goal we have to set is how many books we're going to read over the summer. Now, I talked to you about summer slide already, but there's this really smart researcher named Richard Allington who did all these studies about children and reading and what happens to them over summer. And one of the things that he found out is that kids have to read at least 4 or 5 books over the summer to stop that summer slide. Now, when he came up with this idea of 4 or 5 books, he wasn't just talking picture books like The Good Egg here. He's talking chapter books. So you need to be able to read at least 4 or 5 chapter books over the summer, not to grow as readers, but to stay at that same spot so we don't slide back down. So I want you to think right now, how many books do you think you can read over the summer? If you're thinking that you're just going to read little picture books, 4 or 5 is not going to be enough. You need to come up with a lot bigger of a number so that way you can keep your reading growing so you don't do the summer slide. If you're going to be reading chapter books, maybe 4 or 5 is all you need to set as your goal. For me, I'm going to set a goal of at least 20 books. Now, I know that this is a realistic goal for me because I do read a lot every day, and I think I can easily reach my goal of 20 books. And I'll do a combination of some grown-up romance novels that I like to read, some picture books like The Good Egg, some chapter books that I think you guys will like at school. So mine will be a big combination, but I'm pretty sure I can read 20 books this summer. All right, so think of your number. What's it going to be? And write it down in box number 1. This is how many books you want to read this summer before we go back to school. All right, in the next box, I want you to think, is there one book that you really want to read this summer? Is there something that you've been looking forward to? Maybe it's a new Dogman book or a new Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. I saw that the second Diary of an Awesome Friendly Kid by Jeffrey, Diary of a Wimpy Kid's Best Friend, that book is supposed to be coming out. That looks pretty cool too, but I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to read that one this summer. I have 2 books picked out that I want to read this summer. One of them is a teaching book called Game Changers, and it's about getting books for kids. Imagine me wanting to read a book about how to make sure you guys get books. So, of course, I want to read Game Changer. And then another book I want to read is called Wings of Fire, the Dragonette Prophecy. This is the first book in the series. I read some of this book with my son when he was reading the series, but I never got a chance to read the whole thing. And then he finished reading it before I did, so I kind of missed the ending, of course. So I want to read both of these. So in this second box, I want you to think of those books that you really want to read this summer. Maybe it's not a title of a book. Maybe it's a book about horses or a book about fishing. Whatever it is, I want you to put that in here, either the title or the subject, something you want to read about this summer. So I'm going to put my 2 books in here. Game Changers. That's the book that I'm going to read to help me be a better reading teacher, to help you guys. And then the second one that I really want to read is Wings of Fire. You only have to put 1 book though in this box. I'm just kind of doing extra because I know these are 2 books that are really on my summer list. I want to make sure I get them read. Okay, so now we're ready for our 3rd goal that we're going to write. And this goal is going to be what we want to work on to really improve our reading skills. Maybe you need to work on, or you want to work on visualizing or making a picture so you can imagine what's happening like a movie in your mind as you're reading and you're really thinking about the things you're reading. Maybe you want to write a goal about being able to recognize and read and sound out more words and uncoding more words, decoding more words. Maybe you want to set a goal for stamina and you want to set a goal that you're going to read 15 minutes every day. Or maybe you want to set a goal saying that I'm going to read every day. Okay? So this is just your personal goal. What specifically are you working on in the area of reading? And one of the things I want to make sure that I do and hold myself accountable for is reading every day. So I'm going to write read every day in this box, but I want you to think about it. What do you need to work on? Do you need to work on visualizing and making a picture when you read? Do you need to work on figuring out tricky words? Do you need to work on your fluency and sounding like a good reader and sounding like the author when you read? Okay, so choose what you want and add it to your box. All right, so here's mine. I'm going to read every day. And then in the last box, what we need to do is for your reading goal, I want you to think about where are you going to read? I want you to really picture this in your mind. So I know for me, one of my favorite places to read is, I actually have 2, but one of them is in my backyard, and I have a bench that I like to read on. Now this is not a very good picture of that bench. I'm trying to figure out how to draw it here. So it's kind of like this maybe. All right. And I've got a couple of plants that are next to it that are growing. Okay. So that's one spot that I know I'm going to read. And that gives me an idea of where it is. I'm going to be reading in my backyard. I want to read there. And then I have another spot where I've got a big comfy chair in my living room that I love to read in, my big comfy chair, just because it's so comfortable. Do you have one of those big comfortable chairs somewhere that you like to sit in? All right, so here it is. Here's my 2 places that I'm going to try to make sure I'm reading this summer, okay? So in that last box, go ahead and write it. All right, now you've made your goals and you've set what you're going to do for this summer for reading. Take this paper and save it somewhere so you're not going to lose it. Truthfully, right behind me over here is my refrigerator. I'm going to go ahead and stick mine right on the refrigerator. But now you've got reading goals. Get started reading this summer. Can't wait to see you in the fall.